I'm Alex. I'm with Cloze. Thanks for joining our CRM of Choice session today. Today, we're going to go through some training to help get you started with Cloze. I'm going to do a little recap at the beginning if you've missed some of our other sessions, but we're doing these sessions every week, twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. So join these sessions. We'll have lots more training throughout the summer. We're doing this all the way until September. So we're going to have a little more variety here, but we've got a 3-part series that we're rotating for you. So ask as many questions as you'd like. My team is there for you on YouTube and eXp World to answer questions. So ask those questions as we go. I'm going to cover a fair amount of material, go back and forth between my mobile app on my phone, desktop, demo there, and go through some slides. So we're going to cover a lot of ground today, but again, ask those questions and we'll go from there. All right, so if you're not familiar with Cloze, Cloze is an AI-powered sales and marketing platform that includes a CRM, marketing automation, and lead management. We're the brand standard for Sotheby's International Realty, Corcoran, and Windermere, and other brands where sphere selling is at the core of what they do. That's how agents get their business. It's all from repeat clients and referrals. Very spheres focused, and that's why we're one of the CRM of choice options. Lofty, Bold Trail, they're great for purely lead gen businesses. And we're great for that too, but when it comes to sphere selling, nothing compares to Cloze. And that's what we're going to walk through today and go through. Now, if you haven't dove in yet or attended one of our other sessions, here's a little bit of a recap. But one of the things that makes us very unique is that we automate out all the traditional busy work you find in other CRM tools. Traditionally, when you come into a CRM, you got to do a lot of work. You got to put every contact in by hand. It's just a lot. You got to log calls, texts, you got to set reminders for yourself. So it tends to be a lot of busy work, and we don't really want you spending time on that busy work. So with Cloze, what you're going to find is when you go through the setup, if you've done that already, you've already experienced this, but if you're about to set up, we're going to have you connect your email account and connect your phone to Cloze. And so what that means is you can connect your Gmail or your Google account, and that's going to bring in your Gmail, your Google Calendar, your Drive files, your contacts, all that information will come in automatically if you're using the Microsoft platform. So you've got Office 365 or Microsoft 365. It's going to bring in your Outlook email. It's going to bring in your meetings from your calendar, OneNote, contacts, all kinds of stuff. So it's going to bring all that information for you automatically. If you connect your phone, so you can connect your iPhone or your Android phone, we're going to log all the calls and texts for you automatically. So you keep your real phone number, just dial as you normally would. You don't even have to go into Cloze once you set this up, and we're going to keep track of it. So what that means for you is Cloze will track all your communications with your clients automatically. And that's where things get really interesting. If you've gone to any kind of classes or read about artificial intelligence, one of the things you're going to hear over and over again is you need lots of data to do artificial intelligence. So Cloze analyzes all this communication history with your clients, and that's where it can be really, really helpful and assistive. I'll walk you through some examples, but understanding the ebbs and flows of your communications and who's important to you, Cloze can do a lot of really interesting things on your behalf. Lots of other apps and services you can connect to Cloze. We'll talk about Canva a lot. We'll talk about connecting other tools like Zenlist and SkySlope, but lots and lots of services, hundreds of other services you can connect to Cloze. And so that's all about eliminating that busy work, automating the tasks you don't like, and keeping you on track. So think about Cloze more like a personal assistant. Okay. And of course, you can connect as much or as little as you'd like to Cloze. It's really up to you. But it's important to understand that there's a lot of things you can connect. Now, when we're talking about any of these things, the natural, especially when you're getting into things like tracking calls and texts, right? The immediate question is, well, who can see my information? And I get it. So key thing to know here out of the gate is that your account is completely private and exclusive to you. You are the only person who can see your information there. That goes for Cloze employees too. We can't see your private content. It's private to you. Makes our job harder in support, but we can't see your text messages. Okay. So it's important to understand that information is private and exclusive to you. Same goes for eXp. There is no super admin account that allows them access to anything either. They don't have access to your information. It's private, it's encrypted, nobody has access. We'll talk more about team functionality, but even if you join a team on Cloze, they can't see your information either. Now, we do have options in there to share information if you wish to do so, but you have to explicitly turn that on. So a lot of privacy controls. And part of that history is that we operate outside the United States. And so we follow the strictest privacy rules in the world. So we follow things, for example, like the GDPR in Europe. So we have customers over there, brokerages and agents over in Europe that use Cloze. And so they have EU citizens in their database, and we have to follow those very strict data protection programs. You'll see that reflected in our privacy policy. All that information is private and exclusive, but there's a lot of laws that actually bind how we can use it on your behalf. And so so just know your information is protected. And a lot of big companies also do technology audits as you integrate. So for example, Google once a year will come in and do a big technology audit. And that's great. It's good for everybody. So if you have any questions, ask our team about that, but just know that everything is private and exclusive to you. Another thing that's different about Cloze is that every single agent has their own unique database. So think of it as a unique kind of cylinder or place where everything lives, and it's just your information. And so what that means is that it's not commingled with other agents, and also means that your information is portable. So you could unplug from your team in EXP and go to another EXP team if you wanted to. You don't have to start over. You can also unplug and take your Cloze account with you if you wanted to. And now why that's important is nobody likes to talk about leaving, but if you're going to invest time in a platform, you want to know, can I get my data out? Can I take it with me if I'm going to use it? And the answer is yes. We see this all the time. We see agents move from different brokerages and teams. They unplug from one and they plug into another, but all that data stays with them. So you have that control with Cloze. So all your information is private. It's portable. No one can see it but you. And you can pick and choose what you want to connect. I do recommend connecting those calls and texts and that kind of stuff because it gives you artificial intelligence more information to really help you out. Another thing to note on that, though, is that we have lots of controls to control what is tracked. So, for example, if you don't want your friends and family to be tracked, you can say that. Or if you don't want to bring in the full details of the messages, you can do that too. You can just say there was a text message that occurred, there was a call that occurred, but no details. So we give you a lot of controls there. As you get set up, feel free to ask our team about how to do some of that. But all this automation will help you over time. It'll help you stay closer to your sphere. It'll help you capture more of your sphere. We tend to miss a lot of the people because traditional CRM is a lot of work. When we actually look at studies, only about 12% of contacts that we interact with end up in the CRM. Cloze will help you capture all the other people automatically. Okay, so you're able to track and interact with 100% of your sphere. Let's look at some examples. So here's an example. Imagine you get a referral. You get introduced to somebody. They come into your inbox, get an introduction from another client of yours, and they say, great, sure, give me a call Saturday morning. I'd love to connect. Well, what Cloze is going to do is read that email on your behalf and remind you on Saturday morning about that email to make sure that you get back in touch with them. So a simple example. Now, another thing that Cloze is doing behind the scenes here is it creates a contact for you. That first touch point you have, it's going to create a contact for you. And it's also going to look for new contact information in the email. So in this example, there was an email signature. So Cloze grabbed all that information and updated Cloze as well. So without you having to do anything, it's reminding you about the appointment. It's creating the contact and updating the contact all automatically. So our goal here really is to save you a lot of time. The only thing you have to do is say, is this on my warm list, my hot list? Is it a buyer or seller, that kind of thing. One of our most loved features is our ability to automatically remind you about clients you should get back in touch with. Cloze will analyze your communication history, understand who you know and who you know well. And if you get out of touch with somebody, it's going to nudge you to get back in touch. Now, what's different about this is the traditional CRM, you have to put a specific date in the reminder schedule or calendar and say, hey, let me get back in touch with somebody. With Cloze, because it's connected to your email and your calls and your texts and your calendar, it knows very precisely the last time you talked to somebody. So if you do get out of touch, you're not talking to them, it will nudge you to get back in touch automatically. You can fine tune some of these settings. We can go through some of that today, but it'll understand your patterns and automatically nudge you. And that's why I love this quote from Julia, because she was in the same seat you're in, and she kind of came in very skeptical of the platform, skeptical of CRM in general, because she's used it for years on and off, tried and failed, frankly. And so she was skeptical, and rightfully so. She did what we said, though. She set up her account, connected her email, connected her phone, and Cloze did its thing. and she checked the agenda, and I'll tell you that over and over again. Check your agenda. We have another class that goes through just the agenda, but if you've attended any of the others, you would have seen that by now. And she saw a client on there, and that client she hadn't worked with in a long time. And so she did what we said. She reached out, and he was ready to buy. And so her advice here is let the AI help you. It's not replacing you, but it's going to help you. It'll work alongside. She said, don't overthink it. The AI will help you. It will just work. So it surfaced somebody, and now she has a deal. It's going to help keep you in flow. We talk about live flow with Cloze. If you've done any selling systems like Ninja Selling, they'll talk about live flow. There's all kinds of automation in Cloze, but as you communicate with your sphere, that's where business will come from. That's why we added goal tracking. Now you're going to see a goal tracker inside of Cloze. You can think of this like the Apple Health app. What's unique about our goal tracking is it's very similar to Apple's Health app in that it generates the goals for you from your past history. So the Apple Health app keeps track of how you walk and how you move and how many stairs you do and steps. Are you an elite runner or are you sitting behind a desk? Very different types of profiles. So just like in the Apple Health app, where it's unique to how you move, this is based on how you do your outreach, how you interact with your sphere. So Cloze will understand when you communicate, how often you communicate, what kind of reactions you're getting, so people getting back to you. And when you connect your SkySlope account to Cloze, it will understand your sides in GCI. And it's very formulaic. It understands that how your outreach impacts your sides. It will gently nudge you throughout the day. In our other class, I'll go into more details on how to use this, but it's set up automatically for you. So just scan it, keep an eye on it. The key thing though, I do recommend connecting SkySlope. I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment. Another thing Cloze will do is keep you on top of those important dates: purchase anniversary, real estate review, birthdays, all good ways to stay tight to your sphere. Reach out, gives you a reason to connect. Cloze can remind you. So as you get going, I'll point out where to put that information in Cloze. When you connect SkySlope, we're going to set the purchase and sale date for you automatically, so you don't even have to do that. So it's a good tip to get you going. Okay, so let's dive into this class, getting started with Cloze. We're going to talk mostly about organizing your sphere. So think of that as your foundation for everything you do with Cloze. Talk about some terminology. We'll talk about things like custom fields. I'll give you some tips. I'm going to demo throughout, both on my phone and on the computer. Before I get started, though, I do want to give you a little bit of a tour of some sections, just so you're aware of what's in Cloze, high level, and maybe look at some key settings. I'll show you how to connect SkySlope and Zenlist. Those two, I think, are key. Canva is a integration I think you're going to love. We're going to do dedicated classes on that coming up this summer. So lots more to do, but let's dive in, okay? All right, so I'm going to go over here. Got a special account set up for this. When you come in, you're going to see the Cloze agenda. It's going to look something like this, a little different. You're going to see that goal tracking section. So it's early in the week, so I haven't done much outreach yet, but it's Monday, so I got a little ways to go here, but it's going to nudge me throughout the week. When you get your account started, you're going to see this section called Getting Started. It's going to guide you through the things you need to do to be successful. The one we're going to be talking about today is, or the two here at the top: import your contacts and organize your top 50 people. That's where we're going to focus most of our time today. So I'm going to come back to that, but that's where we're going to dig in, and then we'll dig into the agenda on the next class. The other ones you can do on your own as you're getting going. Okay, so if you look along the left here, you're going to see several different icons. So I'm on the agenda. If I click on inbox, it's going to show me my inbox. We break up the inbox into all mail, focused, and bulk. If I select focus, this is going to show me just the real people in my inbox. It excludes everybody that is all the emails I've received that are bulk. Okay, so this is going to include newsletters and social media updates and really just communications from non-humans. Okay, focused, that's your focused inbox, and it's a good place to check. People, this is where we're going to spend time today going through and organizing your sphere. So I will walk through this in more detail in a moment, but a key thing to note: this is all the people that are going to come in from your Google contacts, your 365 contacts, your Outlook contacts. If you import your device contacts, you're going to see them here. If you import a spreadsheet, you're going to see them here. So think of this as all the organized people in some form. You've put them in a database somewhere, you're going to see them here. You click on My People, you're going to see what we call audiences. down here where it says discovered people, these are people that Cloze has discovered. This can come in a variety of ways, but if you think of the example I just gave you, get introduced. So at this point, you're just communicating via email. You haven't formally created a contact. Cloze will see that you're communicating with them and stash them off to the side in this audience called discovered people. So this is another area that we're working for you behind the scenes automatically to save you the time. So in this example, I'm communicating with Ada here, but I haven't created a contact for her. I can create a contact if I wish to do so, or I can just leave her off to the side. So you don't have to do anything special here, but you could create a contact. So if you're looking for somebody, you may see somebody in Discover People that you just started communicating with. But again, coming back to those stats, only 12% of people actually show up as real contacts when we do the analysis. The other 88%, well, they're living here in this Discovered People section. Along the top, you're going to see some different icons. This first one, it changes the views. We have lots of different views. Right now, I'm in this list and details view. So the nice thing about this one is I can select a contact and I can see them here and I can move through them quickly. So I can go from Aaron to Dana to Maggie to John. I can just keep switching through. You notice how the panel here on the right is changing, but I can see my lists. So that's just one way to work through a group of contacts. If I tap on view settings again, I can switch to other types of views. So table, I like table because it's a wide format, more compact, lots of information. To see somebody though, I select them and then I only see them. Notice how that other column doesn't exist anymore. It's just, I'm very focused on just Aaron here. I go back, I can select Maggie and so forth, okay? There are arrows here that you can use to go up and down that list, so I can keep moving through people if I wish to do so. So it still gives you the ability to move through them. You just can't see them in that view. But again, I like the table because I can take action. I can call, text, email. I can see and customize different columns of information. So if I want to add anything, I can do so. And these columns I can reorganize in different ways, so I can move them around. If I wanted to change the order of things, I can do that. I can adjust the width as well. So there's lots of control. So I could say, take the last interacted and move that all the way to the first position here. Now I can see that first, and then I've got my stage, segment, steps. We're going to talk about these in a moment, these four, stage, segment, step, and tags, and I'll show you how that works. That's going to be the bulk of the class on how that works. So a little bit of a tour on the views. If you click on properties, this is going to show you properties that have come in automatically through our integration with your listings. So we've integrated with EXP's listing service. Your listings will show up here automatically in a moment, or as you connect and get going. I'll show you more a little bit later. Library, this is where you're going to see all of your content. It's going to be things you create. These are going to be things that your marketing team creates over time. That's what the library is for. Okay. All right, let's take a look at settings. If I tap on settings here, I can go and look at a variety of different things. If you click on my account, you can expand it and you can do things like set up two-step authentication. So if you want an extra layer of security, you can do that. You can add passkeys, which are similar. I do recommend setting up two-step authentication. You should do that in all the services you have, not just Cloze. Doesn't matter what you use, you should set that up. Passkeys, same thing. They're very helpful. It's like not having a password. You use your device essentially as the password. Extra layer that you can add, but I do recommend doing that for all services you use, not just Cloze, because it gives you that extra protection. As you scroll down, you're going to see connected accounts. This will show you exactly what you connect. So I got 2 Google accounts connected. If I want to connect anything else, I can click on add, and then I could select it. So I could say, pick another Google account if I had it, or a Microsoft 365 account, connect those. As you go down, you're going to see other categories. One note, if you have an email account that you share with multiple team members, so it's like, I'm going to make this up, myteam@gmail.com, something like that, use the shared email account option to connect. If you forget, we can change this for you, but it gives Cloze an understanding that this is actually used by more than one team member, not just you exclusively. As you go down, you're going to see things like productivity and messaging. You'll see some options here, different phone services. See those there too. Marketing automation, all kinds of different things. and then real estate apps. Now, you're going to see a sampling here. We have hundreds of different integrations. You're going to see a lot of them are also developed by other providers. So they've done the integration work and you connect from their service. So it depends on the service. I'm going to Zenlist as an example of that. So I'm going to show you some slides in a moment of how that works, but it depends on the service. So look here, and if you can't find it, our team can guide you appropriately. SkySlope, this is where you connect. So click on SkySlope, and then it will bring you over to instructions where you can enter in all the details. So if you go follow this link over to SkySlope, they'll show you how to create a key and do all their thing. Okay. But once you get this connected, it's going to bring in all of your listings. It'll bring in past listings and transactions. It's going to bring in all the people on your side. So anybody you've worked with, and it's going to organize those contacts, and it's going to set the purchase or sale date for you automatically. So definitely connect SkySlope. It's a very helpful integration. We have help in our help center at help.cloze.com. When you go there, you can just search for SkySlope, and there's all kinds of instructions there. Okay. All right, so another one I'm going to show you here is display and layout. If I expand this, this is where you can customize Cloze a bunch. And so if you want to just change what's in this left-hand nav here you can do so. So you can see here I'm in desktop. So I'm on the desktop right now. So I can just click here and I can add things. So maybe I want to see the sent inbox and I want scheduled. I hit save. Now notice how I can see those on the left side. If I uncheck them, hit save, now they're not there. So you can customize, and you can do that for your phone, for your tablet, and on your desktop, on your computer. So you can customize all the different things that are there. Now, another thing you can do is change the width of the left column there. So medium is our default, but I can make it narrow, or I can make it wide. So it depends. If you have a big monitor, maybe you want to use wide. Medium generally works for most people. You can change the font size, make it larger. Okay. You can turn on icons or off. And then this option here, this display mode, is one where I do see people making changes to fit how they like to work. So my computer is on dark mode. So if I say match system, notice how it's going to go to dark mode, because that's what my computer is. Some people like the dark mode, some people don't. So it's personal preference. You go light, that goes with our standard coloring. Light mode, you can see it's mostly blue. This is very helpful for people who have trouble with red and green colors. So red or green color blindness. I, in fact, have that. So I use the blue version myself. I use this light mono myself because I have trouble distinguishing red and green. That's a very small portion of the population, but it can be helpful. Or if you just like the blue, you can use the blue. And then if you want to set to dark mode all the time, use dark mode. Okay. I'll turn it back to the default. All right. So that was a quick tour of some settings. We'll talk more about other settings as we go. The area we're going to spend some time in is in this customizations area. We will go in and out of here. This people and company section specifically. This is where we'll be bouncing a fair amount, but more to come on that as we go through here. Okay, so let me show you, I want to show you how to connect Zenlist because I think it's important. So as I mentioned, not everything's going to be in our connected accounts menu. In some cases, you're going to go into the service to connect. In this case, you can see here, EXP Access, which is Zenlist, go to integrations, and you're going to see Cloze listed there. So go to integrations, then so account page, then go to integrations, and then select Cloze. When you select Cloze, that's when you can just hit approve and it will connect to your Cloze account. Okay. Once you do that, you're going to see activity. So browsing activity that your clients that are using Zenlist is going to come into the timeline in Cloze. Messages, save properties, things they want to have a showing on, you're going to see all that come into the Cloze timeline. So it's really helpful to have. just make sure when you go through that you go through all the way through the process and hit approve, and you're good. Okay, let's dive into where to start. So this is generally a question we get out of the gate is, okay, where do I start, right? So two big areas. One, we want to get you situated with your core sphere organized. That's where we're going to spend most of our time today. And then starting to use it on a daily basis. Get into that Cloze agenda, start following up with the people that we recommend. That agenda is going to include a variety of different things. It's going to include keep in touch reminders, purchase and sale anniversaries, birthdays, meetings from your calendar, leads. So a lot of different things. So that's why we have these two classes. So today is organizing contacts. Our next one, using Cloze on a daily basis or getting in a routine, is the Cloze agenda, and we'll talk more on that. Okay. So I always like to start with Jay here because it's always good to hear it from another, person in your seat. And so the way Jay describes it is, he had to get his arms around his sphere. High performance agent, doing very well, but he kind of did what a lot of people did, is he was doing really well, and COVID hit and did even better. And then he kind of, those routine activities that he used to do before COVID, he stopped doing. And then when the boom of COVID kind of ended, his business dropped off. So he went back and did the basics again. So one of his core things was, he said, all right, I'm going to get reorganized and Cloze and just make sure I got my sphere organized. And so that's what we're talking about today. And then get into that routine. And so it's, as he said, it's a relief. He doesn't have to think about it. He just goes in, all the people he needs to talk to are there, and he can just reach out to them in a rhythm. And so that's what we really want to focus in on, is getting you into that rhythm, staying close to your sphere. That's where you'll see the goal tracking really help you. And instead of having to hunt around for things to do, you're going to have it all lined up for you. That's why I like to describe traditional CRM as an empty box or an empty filing cabinet, because you have to do everything yourself. You got to put every contact in there by hand. You got to log every activity. It just is a lot of work. And that's why we tend to fail with most CRMs. With Cloze, we've eliminated that work so you can focus on the real activity, the outreach, the day-to-day interactions with your clients. So step one, as I showed you on that getting started, is import your contacts. The nice thing is, first one's going to be done. So assuming you connected either an Office 365 or a Microsoft 365 account or your Google account, we've already brought in those contacts. So then you got other options. Next one is import your phone contacts. If you're on your computer, we'll have you put in your mobile number and we'll text you a link to download and install the mobile app, either on Android or on iPhone. The key thing here is get that mobile app installed, because not only can you import your contacts, but you can also use Cloze away from your desk. And I know most of you are not in front of a computer all day long. You're out with your clients, you're out in your car, you're other places. So the fact that Cloze has a full-featured mobile app, there's no functional difference between our mobile app and our desktop app, means that all that you can use it anytime you want. So get that app installed. Once you have it installed, this is when you can import those contacts. And so go through the settings, you can import it. I'm going to show you on my phone here. Give me a moment to share my screen. I'm just going to bring this over. Okay. Okay, so there's Cloze on my phone. I'm just going to change the background, make it a little easier for you to see. Okay, so there's Cloze on my phone. Now, if you go to the people section, so that's the people icon, I tap on it, you're going to see all the people that have already imported. Okay, so those are the ones that exist. If you want to bring in your device contacts, tap on more, lower right, and then you're going to see settings. Tap on settings. And then right in the middle where it says contact sync, tap on that to expand it. So it's going to look like this. And then you're going to see sync iPhone contacts to Cloze. If you're on the Android phone, it's going to say sync Android phone contacts to Cloze. And then this toggle here is what you want to toggle on. So just toggle it to the right and Cloze will import the contacts automatically. I'm not going to do that on my phone because I don't want my personal contacts in the demo account, but toggle that on and it'll import for you automatically. They're going to import continuously. So any changes you make or any new contacts you add, they'll sync into Cloze too. I do recommend this because there's a lot of contacts on your phone that don't exist anywhere else. So it's a good set of contacts to import. Remember, we've got lots of ways to filter and organize and all kinds of things. So it's okay to import these contacts. It's not going to create any problems. We will merge contacts automatically. So you won't have a lot of duplicates. Contacts merge based on email address or phone number. So what I mean by that is if I had a contact that lives only on my iPhone and I have another source of that information, like my Google contacts or a spreadsheet I import, as long as we see the same email address in both places, we'll bring those together. Same thing with a mobile number. So it really saves a lot of that busy work of merging contacts you tend to get with other systems. Okay. So that's how you import mobile contacts. Now, another option you're going to see is we're going to give you an option to import a file. You can do it yourself or you can have us do it. So if we go back over here, okay, you're going to see import your contacts. If I click on that, you're going to see here's the import phone, and then there's this next one that says import a file. If I click on that, here are the two options. Let us do it for you, let us import for you, or self-service. Highly recommend you say let us do it for you. Okay. If I click on that, all you have to do, you can see it's already going to go to our support team. Click on the paperclip over here on the right, attach the spreadsheet. You can type here instructions, and then send it off to our team. It's that easy. And we'll take care of the import. We may have questions for you. Tell us more about them. So the more detail you tell us about them, the easier it is. But we'll get them imported for you. We don't want you to have to waste time on that. So if you've got a spreadsheet that you've meticulously kept track of over the years, you can send that to us. If you've exported your contacts out of another CRM tool or any other tool, send that to us. Send us what you got, and we'll help you get set up. Okay. So take advantage of that offer. You don't have to do it through here either. You can just email support@cloze.com, and we'll make sure to help you out. So anytime you want, just email us at support@cloze.com, and we're more than happy to help you import your contacts. Okay, next one. Organize your top 50. So that's where we're going to dive into next. So key thing to know here is, just as I mentioned earlier, you can pick what you want to import into Cloze. If you want to just start off with one Google account, that's fine. If you want to connect all the Google accounts you have, or you've got an old Yahoo account or AOL account or iCloud account, connect them. Connect the places where you do business. That's my recommendation. If you have not used an email account for business, then you probably don't want to connect it. But think about where you interact, where your sphere exists. Those are the places that are very helpful. So our AI will mine those emails and surface people that matter. Anywhere where you think you can get real estate business, consider connecting it to Cloze. But you can ease into it too. You don't have to go do that for every single person. Cloze will take care of deduplication and merging. And what it's going to do is build out a profile for every person you know. So you're going to see a timeline view with all your calls, your emails, your meetings, your texts, all that information automatically, and it will continuously update. It's an infinitely scrolling timeline that goes all the way back in time. All the contact information is going to get organized for you too. So you're going to see all of that brought in, all automatically. Phone numbers, email addresses, postal addresses, social media, if it happens to be there, all organized for you. The goal is to give you one place to go to reach out. So it's very simple to do, and you can easily reach out. The goal here really, you think about extending beyond just spreadsheets too, right? So a lot of people live out of spreadsheets. So instead of thinking of the CRM as just glorified spreadsheet, this gives you a lot more actionability, a lot more ability to stay close to your sphere. Now, when you first get going, the one thing I will say over and over again is you don't need to organize every contact. You have to do that in other systems because they don't have AI. They're not a personal assistant. They tend to be very rudimentary. They're much closer to that glorified spreadsheet. Because Cloze has artificial intelligence, if we think back to what Julia, my example with Julia there, don't overthink it. Let the AI surface the people that are important. It's going to be more like that personal assistant. So don't think you need to micromanage every single detail. It's going to help you out. And this is just going to keep getting more and more, right? AI is going to keep being able to do more and more things for you. At this point, you're just telling you're giving Cloze like a little clue. These are the important people to me. So they become the foundation of your account, and you can kind of leave everybody off to the side. So you don't need to organize every single contact. We're going to organize on a few different ways. We're going to organize based on the journey, and we're going to organize with tags. Those are kind of the big picture things that we're going to think about today. When it comes to the journey, that's what the relationship section is for. So I've got Zach here. He's a warm buyer. I could see that very clearly. The journey part are what we call stages. So you've got warm, hot, in contract, closed, and lost. They show you exactly where you are. A lot of people will boil this down to, I've got somebody on my warm list, I got somebody on my hot list, and everybody else I'm actively working with, or they're not currently working with, right? The people you're working with in the near term, they're either warm or hot, right? That's the stage. Below that, you'll see what we call segment. So the segment shows you who that person is to you. These two are connected to each other. I've got a hot buyer. Under that drop down there where it says buyer, I could see seller, renter, etc. Okay, so other segments. But everybody's on a journey with you one way or another. Right below that, you're going to see a section that you can optionally use, and we call those steps, next steps. Next steps are all the things you need to do to move somebody along to the next stage. So think of them as concrete tasks you need to do to move somebody along. I've got a lead, they came in, I need to follow up. I need to qualify them. Are they going to buy or sell in the next 60 to 90 days? We all have checklists that we go through, repeatable checklists we use over and over again. That's the way to think of next steps. You write your steps once and you reuse them over and over again. It could be for a buyer, it could be for a seller, it could be for a transaction, helping somebody buy a home or sell a home. We have steps for all of these. You can use what we have for built in, or you can customize them. Totally up to you. Here's an example, right? So I've got a warm seller. I've got initial outreach. I've got call for an appointment. I got an pre-listing interview I'm going to do. I've got a listing packet I'm going to deliver, and then I'm going to follow up. I'm trying to do all these things to advance somebody to get them to be hot, right? I'm going from warm to hot. That's the journey I'm on with this seller. And hopefully they go all the way through to in contract and closed. So marching them along. So that's what steps are for. Okay. So let's go back over here. I'm going to go into the people section. I'm going to pick Dana here. You can see that relationship section. I've got warm, hot, in contract, closed, and lost. And then under where it says no segment, I've got all my different segments. I've got buyer and seller. They're transacting both directions with me, both sides. Seller, I've got some ABCDs, which are very helpful for people who use systems like Ninja Selling or Buffini. And then I've got renter, landlord, several others. And then I've got personal segments down here, family, friends, sphere of influence. So I could select any of these to say who they are to me. So I'm going to say Dina is a buyer, and then I'm going to say she's hot. Okay. So I've got her on my hot list, and she's a buyer. You can see I've got some steps here that I can then march through. Send property matches, buyer packet, buyer interview showings, and so on. So different steps I can follow. If I was to go to Maggie here and then select seller, so I'm going to say she's a warm seller, you can see I've got a different set of steps. When I complete all these steps, you notice I've got a different set for when she moves to hot. And then I have none for in contract because I'm using our property section for that. But then after it closes, I've got a bunch more to stay close to her after the transaction is followed. So I've got steps to help me manage that. If you go into settings, tap on more, go to settings. Remember the section I showed you earlier in customizations? This is where I can adjust these steps. So if we go to seller, and I go across, I can see this gear. If I click on that, I can adjust my steps. So here are the steps. You can see there's call for appointment, and there's call for appointment. I can add another step. Just simply type it in and hit OK. I can also rearrange the order of my steps if I wish to do so. So you can fully customize these steps We have different modes. So process mode, it will move sequentially through the steps. Once I check off call for appointment, it goes to pre-listing and so on. If I say task list, I can check off in any order I want. And then mixed lets me set specific milestones that I can nest underneath. I can have subsets, sub-steps sitting underneath a milestone. So a lot of flexibility here to dial in your process. You don't have to do this all at once, but if you have a process, this is where you get it set up, okay? So people and companies, and then pick the segment. So there's sellers. If I went into buyers, I could do the same thing, just add my steps. I can also click on any of these to make adjustments. Okay, so let's go through the organizing wizard here together. So one of the things you'll see when you go onto the agenda is that you'll have a step. You select that organize your top 50. We're going to give you a wizard style approach to organizing your top contacts. In there, we're going to say organize your top 50. Your goal should be roughly 200 or so. Top 200 is where I like to see it dialed into. The rest, you don't have to worry about them. You can organize them over time. But if you think about relationships in general, you can't have a relationship with 2,000 people. So a tighter group will actually yield better business out of it. So when you go into your account, you're going to see this section here where it says getting started. Tap on organize your top 50, and that'll bring up this wizard. Now, the way to think of this, I've got Aaron here, and I've got my journey, warm, hot, in contract, and closed. So remember those stages. And then going this way, I've got my top 4 segments going the other way. So I've got buyer, buyer and seller, seller, and renter. So for Aaron, I know I've qualified him. He's on my hot list, and he's going to buy. So all I have to do is tap on the check mark, and that will organize him. So now it's moved to John. If I was to go back, I can see Aaron. I can see what I selected. Okay. So now John, I know he's a warm seller. So there's warm. Here's seller. Check that off, and it advances to the next one. I know Rob is a hot seller. Moves to the next one. Willow is a renter. Jared is a hot buyer. Troy is a in contract buyer. Sloan is a closed buyer. Hank is buying and selling with me. Okay. So you can just keep moving through these as fast or as slow as you want. You can also skip ahead. So I've got Steve. I'm going to skip him. Okay. Jackson, I'm going to skip. So I've done 16. I can keep going. You can pick off a few at a time if you want. If you're not sure, just skip over them. Okay. So it's very easy. You can just go through them. Another important thing to note here is we organize this by not alphabetical. You notice how these are not in alphabetical order, but they're organized by how well you know them. So because Cloze is connected to your phone, so your calls and texts and your email and your calendar, Cloze can analyze and understand who you know and who you know well. So the people you know best are going to be at the top. So you should be familiar with the people you see here. They're not just random people. You'll also hear me say, don't go through this in an alphabetical way, because your best relationships aren't going to be automatically sorted by alphabet, right? So you could spend all day just in the A's and never get to the people that are really important. So that's why we do it this way, okay? So I've done 24. I can come back. The next screen you're going to see are keep in touch schedules for each of the stages and segments. So each segment's going to have a journey, right? So I've got warm, hot, in contract, and close for my buyers. I can adjust how frequently Cloze reminds me. So for my warm buyers, I can say every 3 weeks. Hot buyers, I could say every week. In contract, every 3 days. What we mean by this is if I'm continuously talking to somebody who is a warm buyer, I'm not going to get a reminder, regardless of what is set here, because I'm already talking to them. But if 3 weeks go by, then I will get that reminder. Cloze is very accurate because we know precisely the last time you talked to somebody. Hit save when you're done. Now, if we go over here to the people section, I'm going to see that table view again. You can see all the people we organized. You can see how this starts to fill out. We've got Aaron is a hot buyer, warm seller. You can see all the things we were doing. I could also click on Harold here and say, after reviewing his timeline, oh, I remember what we're doing here. Okay, he's a hot buyer. Great. So now I've organized him. Another thing you can do is you could say, I'm going to scroll. I'm like, okay, I got Steve, Zoe, Ada, Alan, Alexis, etc. Check off those 6 people. Big check mark in the lower right here. And I can say change. And then I could set them to whatever stage and segment I like. So I could say they're all hot buyers. I know they're all the same. I hit save, and that will update all 6 of them at once. Hit change, and you'll see they all get updated. So that's another way to do it. The quick organizer can be quite helpful, but completely up to you. Okay. So 2 different ways to organize, but an easy way to do it. Okay. So as we wrap here in the last 15 minutes, keep those questions coming into support, or into our team, I mean. If you got questions there, ask them as we go. Big thing here, I'll say over and over again, is don't over-organize. Don't do the alphabetical sorting. You just won't get that far. I don't recommend spending any time deleting contacts. The goal here is to be really focused in on your top 100 or 200. That's where you're going to get the most value. If you do want to get somebody out of the way, you can archive them. And that's very specifically the default. Check off the person and tap on the check mark, and then you can archive them. What that means is we'll put them off to the side, and that way if anybody comes back in again, so the contact comes in from your iPhone or your Google Contacts or anywhere else, it just won't be recreated in that main view. So if we go over here to this account, what I mean by that is my default view is my people. We call these audiences. Remember we looked at discovered people before? You're also going to see archive people. Anybody I put in the archive is going to stay in archive. So if I wanted to archive somebody off, I could tap on them, tap on the check mark, and then you'll see archive. And then Abe's going to get moved over into the archive, and he won't be in my view anymore. Okay. But generally, I wouldn't waste too much time on that. Let the AI help you. As you're going, it can be helpful to break up who you're organizing into bigger kind of buckets. So think of your leads, your qualified leads. So leads would be warm, qualified leads would be hot. In contract, the people you're actively working with, and then the past, those historical clients of yours, they'd be moved into closed. If you connect SkySlope, we're going to take all those closed people and import them automatically and organize them for you. So do connect that SkySlope account. Another thing to note is we have a lot of really interesting sorting options for you to take advantage of. We use all that communications information to give you some very unique ones. Our default is best relationships. So who you know best, you're going to see them at the top. But then others, like when you first met, when you last talked, those can be very helpful. I touched on the discovered people section. A good area to explore later. But if you're searching or trying to find somebody, you don't see them right away, chances are they're in the discovered people area. These are the people that you haven't formally created a contact for. Okay. You can organize them, and they will move into my people once you organize them. But it's our way of taking those ones we automatically create, keeping them stashed off to the side. So when you're ready, you can engage them. You can put them on drip marketing. You can engage them in any way you'd like. So if we're over here and I click on the funnel, this is where I can look at the different sorting options. So best relationship, they're at the top, but then based on activity. So the people I just met, the last interacted with, is a demo account, so you might see some older ones. Last engaged, right? You're going to see some different really useful ones. What's due? These organizing ones I really like too. Created. So when was the contact created? So new, you'll see new as of. Also really helpful. New and untouched, contacts that have come into the account you've never talked to, contacts to classify or AI is recommending you classify. So scan through all these. If you go through these different sorts, you're going to find them really, really helpful. Okay. I'm going to go over to my other account here, this part. So this is an example of an account that's more fully organized. So it's a different demo account. And you can see here, I've got a lot more information in this table view. So we talked about stages, segments, and steps. The last one we're going to talk about are tags here. So you can see this column is filled out with lots of different tags, different people that are on different sets of tags here. And so tags are another way to organize. I've got Gina here, and you can see I've got foodie, gift, holiday card, newsletter. So she's got 4 tags that I've set for her. Tags are useful because they are persistent. Regardless of what's happening over here on the relationship side, wherever she is on the journey, I can still find her using a tag. So tags are great to keep track of things outside of that journey. I like them for organizing commonality across my clients. So I know she's into the food scene. I tagged her with foodie, but I could put her on a dog lover list or travel or cooking or whatever it might be that gives me ways of grouping my clients or any passion I might have. So if you've got everybody kind of works in those ecosystems within their community. And so that's where you get clients. That's where you meet people and you're part of that fabric of the community. So think about tags as a good way to organize those people. It could be all the people you met at a Chamber of Commerce meeting. Just being which, let's look at adding a new tag. So I'm going to start typing new, just as an example. So you're going to see some good examples here. So the first one is newsletter. I could add her to my newsletter, right? It's already done. Newton Chamber. So that's the Chamber of Commerce. If I select that, it would add her to that, it would add that tag. If I hit the X, it removes it. I'm going to add new again here so you can see. So on the right side, you can see how many people have the tag. 44 for newsletter, 12 for Newton Chamber. If I select new, that's grayed out. That would actually create the tag new. It'll put them in the right order for you. So it just added new. So that's a new tag. Okay. If I hit X, it's going to delete the tag. All right. So let's look at tags from a practical standpoint here. If I type in the hashtag symbol, it's going to bring up all my tags. It's going to order them by the ones that are used the most. So if I select holiday card, I've now got all the people that have the holiday card tag. So if we go back to Gina, you can see she's holiday card. If I tap on the check mark up here, I've selected all 101 people that have that tag. And now I can do things, right? One of the nice things about tags is I can go and do something with that. Tap on the check mark like we did before, and I can do different things in bulk. I could log postal activity. So I could say I sent out a happy summer card to all these people. So maybe I did that. And then if I hit save, it would update all their contacts with it. Okay. I could also say mail merge to, and now I've got 101 people on the to line here, and I could send an email to all of them. Now, what's unique about a mail merge is that it's flipping through their names. You could say, hi, Gina, hi, Maury, Monica, Bob. Each person is going to get their own copy of this email. So if I push send in the upper right, it's going to send 101 unique emails out of my Cloze account using my Gmail account, using my real email. And I would see 101 emails in Gmail. No different than if I hand typed and sent one by one by one, 101 emails. That's why we're simulating this is flipping through the names, and that's why these are all grayed out too. Okay, remember the ghostwriter. If I select that, this is where I can create content. So I could say, say happy summer to a client. And then start writing, and then it just wrote me a nice little email here, and I could insert that. Now, if I was to push send, it would send this to all the people. All 101 people will get a unique email from me. So a good way to connect at scale with lots of people at once, but a good example of why you're organizing, right? So you add the tags so you can do these kind of things. You can create emails and send them off to lots of people. You can also export this information into spreadsheets or create Avery labels using Cloze. So that's one of the reasons you export and you organize, and any kind of core. That's why we like to get this set up early. Okay. Now I showed you bulk updates for adding a stage and a segment. You can also do that for steps. So if I select multiple people, tap on the check mark, I can click change again. So we talked about stages. I can also add tags. So I could add any tag I want. Okay. So if I want to add that dog lover one, select it, back arrow, and then hit save, and it will add that to those contacts. And then I can update them. So the bulk change, helpful for adding and updating lots of things at once. So if there's any questions about that, ask the team. If there's any questions out there, let me know. I know we're getting to the top of the hour. Okay, so with the remaining few minutes here, one of the things I wanted to dive into was the profile itself. So we go back over the demo account here, and we've got Aaron here. So we set the stage and segment so that when you're looking at a profile, there's some key things that you can update as you go. So we talked about stage and segment, but big picture, there's lots of other things you can do. You tap on edit in the next to their name. This is where you can update their name. You can set the birthday in there. You can add work history. You can add a picture. So all that information can be added. You hit contact info. This is where you can add a phone number, an email address. Just click on the plus and just add it. Easy to do. Postal address, you can add it there. Okay, so that's the profile. If you need to email somebody or call them, you can do that along the top. Sections on the right, contact info, just expand it to see it if you want. At a glance, these are simple notes. So you can just put in whatever key background details, that kind of thing. Details section, if you expand that, you can add spouse, children, referral. So who's referred that person. So if I want to add a spouse, I can just type their name and link. So now I've linked Dana here to Aaron. Same thing with children, referral. So if I got a referral from Gina, I could save that so I know who referred me. Important dates, if I expand that, this is where I can set those important dates. I do recommend adding these as you get them, okay? Purchase and sale anniversary will be set from SkySlope when you connect that, but if you want to set it manually, you can do it here. If you do real estate reviews, set that date. Birthdays, if you get it, you can add those. Birthdays, I like, you might see them on Facebook, but you can put them in Cloze and then you can be more personal about it. Don't be part of the masses doing it on Facebook and Instagram, that kind of thing. You can do it directly, send them a text or reach out personally. It does make a difference in how you interact there. We can't import this data from Facebook or Instagram or anything like that. We used to be able to it, but they haven't allowed that for about a decade. So it's been a long time. But set that out, and then we will remind you on the agenda. So a fair amount you can do on the profile itself to get organized over time, but get that data in, and it will make the profile richer over time. All right, go back to my slides. All right, so the last thing actually I want to show you are one more setting thing that sets up our next class. So I mentioned earlier that you can adjust the keep in touch settings. If you go into settings, tap on settings, and then go down to that customization section, go to people and companies, and this is where you're going to see all those segments we were looking at before. You click on the gear, we looked at the steps. Above that is where you can set your keep in touch reminder schedule. So my warm buyers, I'm going to get reminded every 3 weeks. My hot buyers every week, and in contract every 3 days. If I use this slider, I can adjust that, and Cloze will remind me based on whatever I set it to. So again, it's not an arbitrary date. It's based on how you're actually interacting with that person. So if I don't talk to a hot buyer for a week, Cloze will remind me. If I'm already talking to them, it's not going to remind me at all. So you can adjust those settings here. Next class, we're going to talk more about the agenda and these settings, but just a quick one if you want to fine tune that. My advice is not to be too aggressive. Don't make them all 3 days. So one question that came in is, do we interface with Sisu? Not at the moment. We don't currently have an integration with them, but it is one we are looking at adding over time. All right. So appreciate you taking the last hour with me. If you have questions, definitely reach out to our team. If you go to help.cloze.com, you can chat with us there. You can also email us at support@cloze.com. We are there 7 days a week. Go to learn.cloze.com. That's Cloze University. You can do self-paced learning there, lots of options, and then take advantage of that self-paced assistance inside the app when you first get going. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, and we will see you in the next